All right, let's jump right into a world built on a foundation we've probably never even considered. A world where progress didn't mean faster chips or bigger screens, but something else entirely. Something quieter, warmer, and, well, a whole lot more alive.
This right here, this is the key to the whole thing. It basically tells us to throw out our entire concept of sci-fi. This isn't about jumping forward, it's about taking a hard left turn. Imagine a tech tree where instead of chasing silicone and electricity, humanity just listened to biology. It sets the stage for a kind of progress that feels both incredibly ancient and wildly futuristic at the same time.
So, what does a sideways evolution even look like in practice? Well, to figure that out, we're going to see this world through the eyes of a professional follower, a guy called an Aven, as he tracks this very quiet, very mysterious man named Nil. Their journey is going to be our guide. Now, what's so fascinating here is how normal all of this is to them. You know, these aren't flashy gadgets for the super rich. They're just fundamental parts of life. Your car isn't a machine, it's basically a creature. A prosthetic limb isn't an attachment, it's a part of you that grew. This is tech that's woven so deep into society it's as natural as a tree. So what happens when your tools are literally as alive as you are?
This dynamic between them is our first real clue that the rules here are different. The Aven's whole job is to be invisible, to just blend in. But when he's standing right in front of Nil, Nil's eyes just slide right past him. It's this profound kind of invisibility that tells you there are forces at play here that go way beyond just, not being noticed.
So Nil's journey eventually leads us to a settlement. And this is where we get to see how this biological tech doesn't just build tools, it builds entire communities that function like living, breathing ecosystems.
Okay, this is the absolute core concept right here. Kiths aren't just buildings, they're organisms. I mean, can you even imagine what it would be like to live inside a creature? Your home having a pulse, a metabolism? People don't just live in these things, they live with them. It's a true partnership.
And this just nails how permanent they are. Over generations, these structures don't crumble or decay. They grow, they get thicker, they integrate with the landscape until you can't tell where the architecture ends and the natural world begins.
So inside this settlement, we get a really clear picture of this whole human kith ecosystem, and we see how it changes everything, even really subtle social rules.
Remember how Nil couldn't even see the Aven? Well, in here, that completely changes. People in the settlement, they see him. They actually talk to him, look him in the eye. And for a guy who's built his entire life on being overlooked, it's totally disorienting. It's like this community, this network of people and living buildings, creates a different kind of reality where his superpower of invisibility just gets switched off.
And then this happens, a moment of pure panic, met not with force, but with absolute stillness. The Aven, our quiet observer, walks out and just sits down, and the bear just turns around and leaves. This moment reveals a whole other layer, right? A human element that's just as powerful as the grown tech. It really makes you wonder, what's the most advanced thing in this world? The technology, or a human mind so focused it can influence nature itself?
And just as we're starting to get comfortable in this strange, almost beautiful world, the story takes a hard right turn, and we see just how vulnerable this whole biological system really is.
I mean, try to imagine your entire neighborhood. All the lights, the heat, the low hum of existence, suddenly going flatline, all at once. That is the terror that hits this settlement. The beating heart of their community just stops.
So, to be clear, this isn't just a power outage. This is a biological death. The walls go cold, the light is gone, and that familiar, comforting sound is replaced by this absolutely chilling silence. For people who have spent their entire lives inside these living things, it's like the world itself has died around them.
With absolutely no clear cause, no storm, no attack, the community is terrified, and they're looking for an answer. And when people get scared, they look for someone to blame. Their eyes land on the only two new things in town, the outsider nobody can see, and the one everybody suddenly can. They blame the Aven.
But just as that blame is about to boil over, a second person shows up with the real answer. And believe me, it is far, far stranger than anything they could have come up with.
So, it turns out the source of the shutdown wasn't some evil plan from the Aven. It was Nil. It was his passive, innate, and completely uncontrollable quality. He's a walking, talking blackout for this technology. He is the quiet.
And you can just feel the tragedy in that, can't you? He's not controlling this. He's a carrier. His very existence is a threat to the world he lives in. That's why he walks alone, why his eyes never seem to focus on anything. He's just trying to pass through life causing as little damage as possible.
And the takeaway here is just devastating. In a world built on living tech, the biggest dangers aren't external threats like storms or wild animals. They can be as subtle, as quiet, as unintentional as a lonely man just walking down a path. Their entire ecosystem has been wounded, and now they have to live with the knowledge that it's way more fragile than they ever imagined.
This whole story really forces us to rethink what vulnerability even means. When your tech is literally alive, is the biggest threat a hostile attack, or is it something quieter, an invisible, accidental influence? It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? In our own world of invisible algorithms and silent data streams, what are the quiet forces that are shaping the things we can no longer see or fully control?